Nobody warned you. Not Google, not your carrier, not the app you downloaded last Tuesday. Right now, while you're reading this, your Android phone is participating in a transaction you never agreed to, and the currency being exchanged is your phone number, the same number tied to your bank, your WhatsApp, your Gmail, your entire identity. Scammers do not guess phone numbers anymore. They buy them, they receive them, they harvest them from systems built directly into the device you carry in your pocket. And the worst part? The door they are walking through. You opened it yourself. There's a moment that happens to millions of people every single year, and it always feels the same. The phone rings. The number looks almost familiar. Same area code, similar digits, and something in your brain says, answer it. So you do. And the voice on the other end knows your name. Maybe they mention your city. Maybe they reference a recent purchase or a service you actually use, and your stomach drops because this does not feel like a random spam call. This feels targeted because it is targeted. Because somewhere between the phone in your hand and the criminal on the other end of that call, your information traveled through a system that most Android users have never once thought about. Understanding how this works is not optional anymore. This is not a niche privacy concern for tech experts. This is a direct threat to your money, your identity, and your security. And it is getting worse with every passing month. The machinery behind modern phone scamming has evolved far beyond what most people imagine. And Android phones, the most widely used smartphones on the planet, are sitting at the center of that machinery, whether their owners know it or not. Let us start with the scale of what we are actually dealing with, because the numbers alone should make you put everything else down and pay full attention. In the closing months of 2024, Americans were receiving 3.7 billion robocalls every single month. Not every year, every month. And these are not all random. A significant portion of those calls are targeted, data-informed attacks on specific individuals whose phone numbers, behaviors, and personal details have been compiled from dozens of different sources, including the apps living on their Android phones right now. The scam ecosystem is not a group of desperate individuals dialing numbers out of a phone book. It is a coordinated, data-driven, billion-dollar criminal industry that runs with the efficiency of a technology startup and the ruthlessness of organized crime. Here is the part that changes how you think about every app on your device. When you install an application from the Google Play Store, even a legitimate one, even one with millions of downloads and a 4-star rating, that app often asks for something called the Read Phone State Permission. The name sounds boring. It sounds like something a phone needs to do routine technical maintenance. But what that permission actually authorizes is genuinely alarming when you understand it fully. Read Phone State gives an app the ability to silently read your phone number directly from your SIM card, capture your device's IMEI number, identify your mobile network operator, and monitor the status of your active calls, all without showing you any notification, any pop-up, or any indication that this is happening. The app just reads it, and then it sends it somewhere. Where does it go? That is the question that the app's privacy policy will answer in language so vague and so deliberately confusing that most people give up reading after the second sentence. The honest answer is that it goes into a data pipeline, a series of interconnected systems that include analytics platforms, advertising networks, and third-party data aggregators. Some of those aggregators sell what they collect. Some share it with partners who share it with their own partners. And somewhere downstream in that chain, the data reaches brokers who are not particularly careful about who they sell it to. And among the buyers of that data are the people who are going to call you next week and know exactly who you are. Think about what that means in practical terms. That wallpaper app you downloaded 8 months ago and completely forgot about. It may have been reading your phone number every week since installation and sending it to a server in a jurisdiction with zero privacy enforcement. The free game your teenager installed on your device may have harvested your phone number along with your location data and sold it to an aggregator who bundled it with your email address, your general income bracket, and your browsing habits. This is not speculation. Research published in 2025 confirmed that 1 in 3 Android applications leaks sensitive user data, and that 62% of Android apps request at least one dangerous permission, with phone identity access being among the most commonly requested. But the apps on your phone are only one part of this problem, and arguably not even the most dangerous part. There is something happening at a deeper level, something built into the way modern Android communicates, that most users have absolutely no awareness of whatsoever. It involves a messaging protocol called RCS, Rich Communication Services, which is now enabled by default on the vast majority of Android phones through the Google Messages application. RCS replaced SMS as the default text messaging system for Android, and it brought with it features that feel great on the surface. Higher quality images, typing indicators, read receipts, group chats with better functionality. It feels like an upgrade. In many ways, it is. But it came with a set of privacy characteristics that create very real vulnerabilities for Android users. When RCS is active on your device, your phone number, your IP address, and your device identifiers are transmitted as part of the protocol's normal operation. This is structural. It is not a bug, it is how the system is designed to work. The critical vulnerability here is in the read receipts. When a scammer sends you a message through RCS and you open it, your phone automatically sends back a confirmation that the message was received and read. This confirmation includes metadata. It tells the sender that your number is active. It confirms that you are a real person, not a disconnected line or a spoofed number. It signals engagement. And for a scammer running a targeting operation against thousands of numbers simultaneously, that engagement signal is extremely valuable. It moves you from the general list to the hot list, the list of confirmed active users who are worth investing more effort in. The encryption that RCS offers is also not as universally protective as most people assume. Encryption between two Google Messages users works reasonably well. But the moment either party uses a different messaging application or a different carrier implementation of RCS, that encryption either breaks down or disappears entirely. And carrier-level RCS, which operates on the network infrastructure of your mobile provider, runs through servers that are far more vulnerable to interception and data collection than end-to-end encrypted systems like Signal. The FBI has explicitly raised concerns about RCS security, and those concerns center precisely on the exposure of personal identifiers and the gaps in encryption coverage that exist in real-world RCS communication. Now, here is where the story gets genuinely dark, because everything described so far, the app permissions, the RCS protocol, the data broker pipeline, those are the passive ways your phone number leaks out. They happen whether you do anything or not. But there is also an active dimension to this problem, one that has been growing rapidly through 2024 and into 2025. And it involves what happens to your number once scammers have it. The process they use is systematic, layered, and terrifyingly effective. Stage 1 is verification. Scammers with a list of phone numbers run automated systems to determine which numbers are active and connected to real people. RCS read receipts, as mentioned, help with this. So do automated callback systems that hang up after one ring and wait to see which numbers call back. So do SMS verification loops that send a message and track delivery confirmation. By the end of this stage, the scammer has trimmed their list from millions of numbers down to hundreds of thousands of confirmed, active, real targets. Stage 2 is enrichment. They take those verified numbers and cross-reference them against every database they have access to. Breach data, broker data, social media scrapes, app harvests. They build profiles. Name, approximate age, city, relationship status inferred from social media, financial signals inferred from purchasing behavior, employment status inferred from LinkedIn or similar platforms. A phone number that enters this stage as a string of digits exits it as a complete human being with known vulnerabilities and predictable pressure points. Stage 3 is targeting. Armed with enriched profiles, scammers craft attacks that feel personal because they are personal. The voice on the phone mentions your bank by name because they know which bank you use. They reference a recent transaction because they have data that correlates with your purchasing patterns. They know your approximate income level, so they pitch scams calibrated to what you can plausibly lose. This is not guesswork. This is applied data science in the service of theft, and it works at a scale that produces billions of dollars in losses every single year. The FBI confirmed that SIM swap fraud alone, just one type of phone number attack, produced nearly $26 million in verified losses in 2024, and that figure represents only the cases that were actually reported and investigated. Stage 4 is exploitation. This is where the phone number becomes a master key, because your number is tied to your two-factor authentication on your email. It is tied to your banking app verification. It is tied to your WhatsApp account. It is tied to your Apple ID or Google account recovery. A scammer who controls your phone number, either by SIM swapping, by porting your number, or by intercepting your SMS messages through malware, can reset passwords, bypass two-factor protection, and take control of accounts that hold your money, your identity documents, and your entire digital life. In documented cases, people have lost retirement savings, had their identities used to open fraudulent credit accounts, and spent years trying to recover their compromised digital lives, all starting from a phone number that leaked from an app they barely remembered installing. So what do you actually do? Because this is the point where most content either gets vague or gets overwhelming. Neither is useful. What follows is specific, actionable, and built on how Android actually works in 2025. The first thing you do is open your permission manager. The path is Settings, then Privacy, then Permission Manager. What you're looking for, specifically, is the category labeled Phone. Open it. Every app listed there has access to your phone identity, meaning it can read your phone number, your IMEI, and your network information directly from your hardware. Go through that list with one question in mind. Does this app have a legitimate reason to know my phone number? Not just any reason, a real functional operational reason that would break the app if the permission were removed. A flashlight app has no reason. A puzzle game has no reason. A background customization tool has no reason. A discount coupon app has no reason. For everything that fails that test, tap on it, select permissions, and revoke phone access immediately. Do not worry about breaking the app. If the app stops working because it cannot read your phone number, that tells you everything you need to know about what it was actually doing with that permission. The second action is specifically about read phone state, which is the individual permission within the phone category that enables direct phone number reading from the SIM. This permission is different from asking you to type in your number. It does not ask at all. It reads silently and automatically. On stock Android and most manufacturer builds, you can drill down into individual app permission details through Settings, then Apps, then selecting a specific app, then Permissions. For apps where red phone state appears and the app does not need it to function, revoke it without hesitation. The third action involves your Google advertising identity. Open Settings on your phone, go to Google. Look for ads within the Google Settings menu. You will find your advertising ID, a unique alphanumeric identifier that Google assigns to your device and shares with advertising networks and their partners. This ID is used to link your app activity, your searches, your location movements, and your behavioral patterns into a profile that is then used for ad targeting. But it is also one of the identifiers that data brokers use to enrich phone number profiles. On Android 12 and above, you can delete this ID entirely. Do it. On older Android versions, you can reset it, which severs the historical tracking chain even if it does not eliminate future tracking. Reset it, and then reset it again every few weeks. The fourth action is about your RCS settings specifically. Open Google Messages, the default messaging app on most Android phones. Go to the three-dot menu in the upper right corner, then Settings, then Chat Features. You will see whether Chat Features, which is Google's name for RCS, is enabled. Consider the trade-off carefully. RCS offers real conveniences, but if your threat assessment tells you that the read, receipt exposure, and the metadata transmission are not worth those conveniences, you can turn Chat Features off. Your messages will revert to standard SMS, which has its own weaknesses, but does not expose your device identifiers and IP address as part of routine operation. For many users, the right answer is to move important conversations to an end-to-end encrypted platform like Signal, and use Google Messages only for standard SMS with parties who are not on Signal. The fifth action is one that most Android users have never thought about, and that takes less than 2 minutes to complete, but provides significant protection. Go into your phone's location settings and look for the scanning options. Specifically, look for Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning under location services. These features allow your phone to scan for nearby wireless networks and Bluetooth devices even when Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are turned off. The purpose is to improve location accuracy. The side effect is that your device is constantly broadcasting its presence and identity to nearby networks, and that data, your device showing up at specific locations at specific times, gets incorporated into the tracking profiles that data brokers maintain. Disabling both Wi-Fi scanning and Bluetooth scanning removes this constant background broadcast from your device's behavior. The sixth action is one that exists outside your phone entirely, but is critically important. Call your mobile carrier, not chat with them, actually call them. Ask them to add a SIM lock and a SIM PIN to your account. Specifically request that any changes to your phone number, including SIM swaps, number ports, and account transfers, require verification through a PIN or passcode that only you know. This is a protection that most carriers offer, but almost never advertise, because it adds friction to their own processes. But that friction is exactly what protects you. A scammer who calls your carrier armed with your name, your address, the last 4 digits of your social security number, and your phone number, all of which may already be available through data brokers, can often convince a customer service representative to transfer your number to a new SIM. A SIM PIN stops that cold. The seventh action is your privacy dashboard, and it deserves to become a regular habit rather than a one-time fix. You find it in Settings, then Privacy Dashboard. What this screen shows you is a timeline of which apps accessed which permissions over the last 24 hours and the last 7 days. Scroll through it. Look for anything that accessed your phone identity, your contacts, or your microphone at a time when you were not actively using that app. Background access. An app reading your phone stayed at 3 a.m. while your phone was sitting on your nightstand is a serious red flag. If you see it, that app needs to have its permissions revoked and possibly needs to be uninstalled entirely. The eighth action is about what you install from this point forward. The most dangerous apps are not the ones you know are dangerous, those you would avoid anyway. The most dangerous apps are the ones that look completely legitimate, fill a genuinely useful function, and silently request permissions far beyond what they need. Before installing any new app, go to its page on the Play Store and scroll down to the data safety section. This section, which Google mandated for all apps in recent years, shows you what data the app collects, what data it shares with third parties, and whether that data is linked to your identity. An app that collects your device ID and shares it with third parties for advertising purposes and links that to your identity is an app that is going to add your phone number to a profile being sold to people you do not want to know you exist. The ninth action involves your existing apps, specifically the ones you installed and never think about. Open your app drawer and scroll through everything installed on your device. For every app you have not opened in the last 30 days, seriously consider whether it needs to remain on your phone. Every installed app is a potential permission holder, a potential data collector, and a potential leak point. Apps you're not using are providing you zero value while potentially continuing to collect data in the background. Uninstalling unused apps reduces your attack surface significantly and immediately. The 10th action is about SMS verification and two-factor authentication. Because even if you lock down every permission on your phone, stop every app from reading your phone's state, and secure your SIM against swapping, your phone number is still being used as a recovery and verification channel for dozens of accounts. An SMS-based two-factor authentication, where a code is sent to your phone as a text message, is genuinely weak from a security standpoint. SMS messages can be intercepted through SIM swapping, through malware that reads your messages, and through carrier-level vulnerabilities. Where any service gives you the option to use an authenticator app instead of SMS for two-factor authentication, take that option. Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, and similar apps generate verification codes locally on your device without any SMS transmission, eliminating the interception vector entirely. Here's a dimension of this problem that almost never gets discussed but is critical to understand. Your phone number does not just leak through what your phone does, it leaks through what other people's phones do. Every contact list that includes your number, every friend, family member, colleague, or acquaintance who has your number saved and who has granted contacts access to apps on their device is a potential source of your phone number reaching data broker systems. When your contact installs an app that requests contacts permission and they grant it, that app uploads the entire contacts list to its servers. Your number is in that list. Your name is attached to it. You never installed the app. You never granted any permission. But your data moved anyway. This is called shadow data collection. And it is one of the most difficult privacy problems to solve because it is entirely outside your direct control. The data broker pipeline that sits between your phone number and the scammer who calls you is not a simple two-step process. It is a layered, automated, continuously operating market. Your phone number enters the pipeline from one of dozens of sources: app harvest, data breach, contacts upload, social media scrape, public record, carrier data sale. It gets assigned a profile ID, other data points attached to that profile over time as it gets cross-referenced with other data sets. The profile gets enriched, rated for value based on how complete and current it is, and sold in bulk packages to buyers who range from legitimate marketing companies to operations that are explicitly criminal in nature. The legal buyers and the illegal buyers often cannot be distinguished by the brokers selling the data because the brokers do not ask. They do not have to ask. Privacy laws in most jurisdictions do not require them to verify the purpose of purchase. What is particularly chilling is the sophistication of what scammers do with enriched profiles once they have them. Modern phone scamming operations use AI-generated voices to make robocalls that sound completely human. They use spoofing technology to make the call appear to come from a number you know, your bank's customer service line, your doctor's office, your child's school. They time their calls based on behavioral data that tells them when you are most likely to be available and most likely to be in a stressed or distracted mental state. They script their approaches based on the financial and personal profile built from your leaked data, and they iterate. Every call that fails teaches them something that makes the next call more effective. The 2025 statistics on mobile threats paint a picture that should eliminate any remaining complacency about this issue. Mobile malware surged 151% in the first half of 2025 compared to the previous year. Banking Trojans, specifically designed to intercept SMS messages and steal authentication codes, have become the dominant threat category. Over 12 million users encountered serious mobile threats in just the first quarter of 2025. And Google Play Protect, the built-in security system on your Android phone, identified and flagged 27 million malicious side-loaded app installations in 2025, which tells you that tens of millions of people are installing apps from outside the Play Store without understanding the risks they are accepting. This is the reality of the threat environment that your Android phone exists in right now, and the response cannot be passive. The privacy tools built into Android are genuinely powerful. They are among the best mobile privacy tools available on any platform. But they do nothing if nobody uses them. The permission manager does not revoke permissions automatically. The privacy dashboard does not remove dangerous apps. The advertising ID does not reset itself. SIM locks do not activate themselves. These are tools that require a human decision to use them, and that decision has to happen now rather than later. Because here's the thing about waiting. Every day that your phone continues operating with unnecessary permissions granted, with RCS read receipts confirming your activity to unknown senders, with your advertising ID intact and your SIM unlocked, is another day of data generation, another day of profile enrichment, another day of your information traveling further into systems you cannot reach and cannot reverse. Data that leaves your phone does not come back. Profiles that are built about you do not delete themselves. The broker databases that your number already exists in are not going to erase your record because you finally got around to revoking a permission. Securing your device going forward is entirely within your control. But the data already out there, that is a different question entirely. And it is the question that should stay with you long after you have made every setting change discussed here. How many systems already have your number? How many profiles have already been built? Or how many times has your phone number already been sold to someone whose intentions you would find frightening if you knew them? How many more enriched profiles are being built right now from data that left your phone months ago? These are not questions with comfortable answers, but they are questions that honest engagement with this problem requires you to sit with. Because the threat is not just future, it is also present and it is also already past. The leak may be slowing, but everything that has already escaped is still moving. And in a world where your phone number is your identity, where it unlocks your bank and your email and your social media and your private messages, the question of where your number has been and who already has it is not a small question. It is possibly the most important security question you have not yet fully answered. Your phone is more secure today than it was before you started reading this. But the real question, the one that matters most, is whether that is still enough.